Welcome to another episode of the K&A Football Podcast. I am your producer, Debbie, and I guess I'm doing the intro because I offered at the last second. As you'll notice, Caden has gone to a better place. That place being YWAM, Youth with a Mission, and he is currently serving, I believe, in Louisville, Kentucky right now. We covered it in our last Christmas episode right before he left, and we had a little bit of a 2-week hiatus, 1 week of which was unintentional, but nonetheless, we are back. We are ready to record, and we are ready to review this last week of the regular season. This is K&A Football.
So like Debbie said, a little bit different going on here. Obviously Debbie is sitting here going to be talking to me. First off, before I move any further, round of applause for Debbie. Yay, Debbie. Nailing that intro. I feel like that was probably your first intro ever.
Maybe. There was a podcast I was on
way
long ago.
You and Sue Ellen were on a podcast.
Yep.
You did one where Caden and I tried to run things behind the scenes. Did not go very well. You and Sue Ellen tried to rank the NFL logos.
That's bad.
It was pretty rough. And so after that, we vowed that you guys would never get in front of the camera again. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Turns out the shareholders don't think that I am enough to do this on my own. So they had to bring you in, decrease your salary to put you in front of the camera. So here we are. So shout out to you. But it's going to be a great episode. You know, we're very sad to have Caden go on, but we will nonetheless faithfully and diligently review week 18. Look forward to the playoffs. And talk about all that we have going on. So, without further ado, we need to break down for you guys our top 2 plays of the week. Why is it 2 and not 3 like normal, you ask? The reason, Caden normally does the top 3 plays of the week, and now I had to do it, and I couldn't come up with a third better one. So, we have the top 2 because I'm not getting paid enough. So, shareholders, if you want 3 plays of the week, you're going to have to increase my salary. Debbie, let's get those plays up here. So, oh, never mind.
Nope.
Well, I'll talk about it real quick.
Yeah.
The first play is going to come from the Jets and the Dolphins. In this game, the Jets are already donezo. They're just playing for morale at this point. This could be Aaron Rodgers' final game of his career. In this game, we see Aaron Rodgers throw for his 500th career touchdown. There are only a handful of other people who have that many touchdowns in their career, notably Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and now Aaron Rodgers gets to join that noteworthy club. So he throws for that in this game. Dolphins need to win. Okay, so here we go. Aaron Rodgers throws across the field to Davante Adams. Davante Adams throws it back to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers throws it back across to Davante Adams, and he promptly gets tackled a couple of yards behind the line. One of the worst plays I have ever seen. And you may be asking yourself, Austin, why is this in the top 2 plays of the week? Mostly because it's funny. That's about it. It's hilarious because there was all this hype and all this buildup of Aaron Rodgers switching teams. What's going to happen? Oh, is he going to play well? I don't know. And then we had weeks and weeks of drama and suspension. Where's Davante Adams going to go? Is he going to go to the Jets? Is he going to join his buddy Aaron Rodgers? We don't know. And then Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show reveals Davante Adams behind him. Oh, he's coming to the Jets. He already bought a house here. And this is how the season ends for them. A very, very fantastic. What did they even finish the season with? What was I don't even know what their final score was. You know, like just a handful of wins. Just pretty rough. And the
5-12.
The Oh, where'd you go? The Dolphins needed to win this game and have the Broncos lose in order to sneak into the playoffs. They got the win. We'll talk about the Broncos in a little bit here. Spoiler alert, they won. So the Dolphins ended up not getting into the playoffs. But this play, hilarious. That's about the only reason it's in here. Speaking of hilarious plays, Debbie, let's roll the next clip. So talking of the Broncos need to win in order to make it into the playoffs. They're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are resting pretty much all of their starters because they already locked down the 1 seed. There's no reason that they need to be getting anyone hurt in the last game of the season. This does not matter. So maybe you guys saw the memes, but what do you know about Week 18 Carson Wentz? Because Week 18 Carson Wentz last year kind of went crazy for no reason. So we're like, maybe we'll get another one of those. It'll push the Broncos out of the playoffs. How funny would that be? So we get this play. Second string Chiefs players. We get the Broncos. Bo Nix on the verge of scoring on like the 4-yard line. Ball gets snapped. Bo Nix rolls out, tosses it, and it gets tipped by like 3 Chiefs players before getting caught and a touchdown for the Broncos. I mean, if they're obviously the allegations are that the Chiefs intentionally lost this game to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs. I think that was a thing. I don't think any team's really thinking about that, especially these backups. Like these backups, they're playing for starting spots. They're playing to keep their spots. Like, it's kind of like in the preseason, we see players who give everything they have. So I don't think that this was a case of they lost so that the Bengals couldn't get in. But this is a hilarious play. How many people tipped that ball before eventually getting caught for a touchdown? So again, That's why it's on there. This is funny.
I will say I did see this clip with the amount of little football knowledge I have. It's pretty impressive. But sometimes they come up on my Instagram feed, and I did see this clip. But when I started watching it at first, I was fully convinced that this was a college game from like this angle. I did not recognize the Broncos at all, and the Chiefs could be, anybody. And so I was very, very confused at who was in the NFL anymore, what was going on. Was I that out of it? Turns out it was just the Broncos and whatever. I don't know whatever. Do you know what uniforms these are? Are they throwback?
This is like this is like one of their throwback uniforms. Yeah,
I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie.
They're sweet. Terrible. Yeah, I don't mind them at all. The helmets are kind of cool.
The helmets are very different.
Yeah,
because it's like not even their logo. It's like a different one.
Yeah.
Basically. Anyways.
Yeah. So those are our top 2 plays of the week. Now we'll jump straight into our recap. So first up on the agenda, we have my Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens needed to win in order to take the division from the Steelers. If the Ravens lost and the Steelers won, then the Steelers would take the division. I don't really know. I think maybe the Ravens would have had it if they both won. But the Ravens needed to win. So to keep things short, they take care of business. They beat us 35-10. It was not close. Lamar Jackson had a great day. Derrick Henry had a great day. The Browns had a really bad day. Okay. Bailey Zappi started this game for us, and we're like, okay, he can't be worse than what we've been dealing with. Turns out he can. Immediately goes out, throws a pick 6. Next Browns possession, Bailey Zappi is nowhere to be seen. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's back out there. Okay, fine. I guess Bailey Zappi was that bad. And then we see Bailey Zappi later in the game. So it was just a carousel of bad quarterback play from the Browns. As you see, we only put up 10 whole points. The Ravens did whatever they wanted with us. Overall, unproductive day for the Browns. But it's fine because we went ahead and secured the 2nd overall draft pick. So can't complain too much. Worthy to note is that Myles Garrett met with the Browns front office. this week to discuss with them their plans on not rebuilding. Myles Garrett has made it very clear that he does not want to be a part of a rebuild. So if the Browns are committed to winning right now, today, gonna fix things up. They're trying to win next year, go as far as they can. Myles Garrett wants to stick around. He wants to be a Brown. But if the Browns indicate to him whatsoever that they are looking to rebuild, they are looking to take a couple years before they start winning again, Myles Garrett will be out and he will not be a Cleveland Brown anymore. So that is something to keep our eyes on. Debbie, do you have anything to say about this one?
I really do not. Actually, just for the viewers, I mean, I've already said it, but I don't think I watched a single game this week. So I'm here for pure comedic purposes. I'm just here to, make very dumb comments mostly.
Okay.
So, no, I don't have any comments.
I will also keep it a buck. I did not watch as much football as I should have this week.
We are really letting Kaden down.
I know. But as you can see behind me, I'm back at school. I drove down on Sunday because, in case you didn't know, the Midwest got hit with like the biggest snowstorm that we've got hit with in the last like 15 years, maybe more. So I was trying to beat the storm down here because it was supposed to hit the Cincinnati, Cedarville area right about the time I was scheduled to get back. So I got back here, snow started falling immediately, and overnight we wound up with like 13 inches of snow down here.
That was actually Austin, like in the back there. You can't really see him, but
yeah, you can see me in like the Target parking lot all the way back there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like in the Taco Bell.
Try to get.
Yeah, so there's a lot of snow down here. So I did not watch as much football as I should have, but that's okay. We'll get through this. I'll watch the playoff games. Don't you guys worry. All right, the next game that we're going to talk about here is the Bengals and Steelers. The Bengals, this is a big game for them. It's a big game for the Steelers because the Steelers, they need to win in order to kind of keep things moving for them, stay inside the playoffs, or they need a couple things to go their way as well. Actually, they might have been a lock for the playoffs at this point. They were playing for the division is what was happening here. But the Bengals, on the other hand, they're playing for that last playoff spot. There are three teams in the hunt there, and that is the Bengals, Broncos, and Dolphins. If the Bengals win we'll make it easy. If the Broncos win or tie, the Broncos are in the playoffs. If the Broncos lose, but the Dolphins win, then the Dolphins are in the playoffs. If the Broncos lose and the Dolphins lose and the Bengals win, then the Bengals are in the playoffs. So the Bengals really, really need to win this game. They go ahead and they win this game. Joe Burrow puts on another decent day. They put up 19 points, and their defense actually plays well. Their defense didn't give up 100 points. So their defense plays ultra well. Kept Steelers to 17. At the end of the game, the Bengals are up 19-17, as you see here. The Steelers have one more possession to try to take care of things, go kick a field goal and win the game. But instead, Russell Wilson runs for a couple yards. That's pretty useless, just wastes seconds. Heaves one down to George Pickens, who did not have a catch all day. Just drops after drops for him. The Steelers inevitably stall out, can't get things done. Bengals win. Some hope is given, but as we all know, in the end, the Broncos ended up winning. So it was all for naught, even after Joe Burrow had one of the most impressive seasons out of a quarterback we have seen in a long time. All right, the next game we have here is Caden's Panthers against the Falcons. Gonna be completely honest, I have literally no idea what happened in this game. All I know is the Panthers won and the Falcons lost 44-38. I also know that the Falcons ended up missing the playoffs. So something tells me way deep down in my heart that this loss may have been what pushed the Falcons out of the playoffs.
And I mean, all the input I have is that Caden posted, which I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, but Caden posted a picture of Bryce Young in a story, and is again, Bryce Young is him, even though, he didn't post anything about leaving or saying goodbye to us. It was just, Bryce Young is him.
Yeah,
That's
it was
all we
just
got.
Bryce Young is him. There was no, oh, my friends
Oh,
are
my friend.
awesome and the
Right.
greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently they're good.
I would like to pull this up, if I may.
I'll try.
Because I don't have a lot to talk about with this game specifically. Hold on. Where are we? All right, here we go. So, once upon a time, Austin was playing Caden in the Dynasty Championship. Dynasty Championship, okay? And if you guys remember, I said that I would let you know if we got there who won. Like, we knew we were there, but like, who won? And Caden said, don't believe him. He's going to lie no matter what happens. Well, I have proof. You see that?
No. Left. Oh. League champs, Austin O'Brisky. Now, to be fair, if you hadn't been a league champ, I seriously doubt that you would have ever brought it up ever again.
This is true. If I had lost, no one would ever hear about it. It would have been lost, and no one would have ever heard about it ever again. But I won.
Yep.
What are you gonna do about it, Caden? You lose. I don't even feel bad about it. I mean, I feel a little bit bad about it because the way Caden lost was kind of unfortunate. One of his players got hurt, so he was a little upset about that, and by a little, I mean a lot. But that's okay because I won, and that's what matters. All right, next game that we're going to talk about.
Is there anything in that league to fight for? Like, is it a money league or is it just bragging rights? Punishment?
Debbie, we don't endorse gambling.
No,
not
at all.
K&A Football.
Think of it as
so we don't really put money on things. Instead, we put male deer on the line. We had $100 for the winner.
Okay.
So I got 100 male deer.
Yeah.
For winning that league. Not money. Male deer.
I'm just gonna let that one sit because of how bad of a joke that was.
All right. Next up, I'm really funny. Next up, we have the Texans.
Yeah, we need Kid. Where's that guy at?
The Texans and Titans. Oh, switch the thing. There we go. Texans Titans. Texans ended up winning this one 23-14. Davis Mills was the starting quarterback in this game for the Texans because obviously, yet again, you don't want to hurt your starters. The Texans had clinched the playoffs weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and there was nothing they could do at this point. They couldn't really go up or down, so no point to hurt your guys. You're not going to get a better spot. They beat the Titans as they should. The Titans, in losing this game, were able to get the first overall pick in the draft. So that's huge for them. Hopefully they can make a good pick, turn things around, kind of refocus for next year, in the years coming. If I'm the Texans, though, I am a little bit worried. I mean, you did get this win, so that's good, but it is against the Titans, so whatever. But the Texans are coming off a really, really rocky end of the season. They clinched the playoffs early just because their division is so bad. Colts, Jaguars, Titans. I mean, it is almost impossible to not win that division. So they clinched the playoffs early, and then they hit a really, really rough patch. And that is not where you want to hit your rough patch. You want to kind of hit your stride in these last couple weeks of the season so that you have momentum and you have morale heading into the playoffs. Right now, the Texans are a struggling organization because they've really played poorly. They haven't had a lot of wins. So I'd be worried for them. I'll preview it at the end here, but they will be playing it's the 4 seeds, so they're going to be playing the Chargers. It's not, I don't anticipate that game's going to go very well for them, especially with how hot the Chargers have been. So if I'm a Texas fan, I'm worried, but you did make the playoffs, so there's at least that for you. All right, next game here is the Giants and Eagles. Did not watch this game, but I know they rested their starters. Saquon Barkley did not play in this game, even though he was only about 100 yards shy of the all-time rushing record. They decided to rest him. I understand the decision, but it would have been cool to see him break the record. Jalen Hurts was still out with a concussion for this game, so that's something to keep your eye on as we head into the playoffs. Does Jalen Hurts play?
I think I saw something about him practicing on Wednesday, like today.
That would be good for the Eagles. If he cleared
Um,
concussion protocol, that's super big for them.
And they just posted this on X.
Well, maybe he went ahead and cleared it then because he wouldn't. I don't think he'd be out there practicing if he still had his brain.
Yeah, we need him.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So hopefully for the Eagles, they have him back. The Giants in that loss, where they end up with the 3rd overall pick in the draft, so they can do that. Their owner came out the other day and said that they are keeping their GM and head coach. Not quite sure why, but he has faith in them. He has faith in their long-term plans, and this was just a hiccup. It wasn't. This is going to be a theme unless they get rid of some management, but whatever. All right, next game is the Jaguars and Colts. Again, didn't see it. Colts win 26-23. I think Joe Flacco played in this game. Didn't do ultra well. The Jaguars go ahead and pick up another loss. They end up with the 5th overall pick in the draft. So shout out to them. Hopefully they can turn things around too, because they had like one good season a couple years ago, and it's just been a struggle since then. So hopefully they can figure things out, get back to the way it is. But I think Doug Peterson might be on his way out. The Commanders and Cowboys. The Commanders won 23-19. With that win, I think they were already in the playoffs for the most part. I don't really remember if they'd clinched it here or the week before, but they went ahead and got finished with the 6th seed in the NFC. The Cowboys obviously had been eliminated for a good long while before this, so this game didn't matter all that much. Bears-Packers. This one is actually pretty interesting. The Bears went ahead and beat the Packers for the first time in, I want to say, is the last 7 matchups. Debbie, fact check me on this. When was the last time the Bears beat the Packers prior to this? I need to know. It was 7 something. I don't remember if it was matchups or seasons. Seasons would be crazy, and I feel like that might be it. Debbie, you getting this?
I am.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. The Bears beat the Packers for the first time since 2018 and ended an 11-game losing streak in the rivalry. So,
well, there you go.
Games.
That's a long losing streak to one team,
and that's 7 years now. So,
well, there we go. I knew it was 7 something. 7 years was crazy, so I thought it was 7 years, and I was like, that's a long time. Maybe it's not that many, but
you're right.
That's a lot. Well, shout out to the Bears. They got a last-minute field goal to go ahead and win this game. The Packers, regardless, went ahead and got the 7 seed in the NFC, so they'll go ahead and have to play the Eagles. So good luck to both sides. Should be good. Jordan Love obviously showing promise, so excited to see what they have to do in the playoffs. Next game here is the Saints and Buccaneers. Buccaneers, I believe, needed this win. I can't remember. I really can't remember what teams clinched already and what teams hadn't. But whatever. Buccaneers got the win 27-19 against the Saints. This goes ahead and secures them the division. They take the number 3 seed in the NFC. Then the Bills-Patriots. The Bills actually lost this game 16-23. And this was, I have one friend who is a
Awesome.
Patriots fan. Yes.
Here's the this is not updated yet. So this is last week's basically because it still shows the week 18 versus I believe. Yeah. So this is the playoff picture as of right now.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's actually kind of last week, but
I think it's
works. I don't know. I feel like they update it slowly, but
yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Perfect. So the Bills actually lost this game, which is super, super interesting because the Patriots kind of needed to lose to hang on to the first overall pick, and they went ahead and sold. They won this game, which dropped them all the way to the 4th overall pick. So not great for them. Jared Mayo immediately got fired following this game. I mean, he didn't perform all that well this year, and then he went and cost the team 3 draft spots. So, yeah, that's fair enough. Maybe he'll get a gig somewhere. I mean, he'll get a coaching gig somewhere else, probably a coordinator deal. But who knows the next time we'll see him on the sidelines as the head coach.
This is an unverified source, but nonetheless a rumor. Former NFL head coach and coordinator Matt Patricia has requested to be interviewed by the Patriots for their vacant head coach position.
Matt Patricia worked with the Patriots for a number of years. He was under Bill Belichick for a while, did kind of okay. I think he went to the Lions for a little bit, and then he came back to the Patriots. And I don't know where he's at now, but it doesn't shock me that he wants back into that organization.
Yeah, and that's as of January 7th. So yesterday.
All right, next game we have is the Chargers and Raiders. The Chargers win 34-20. They go ahead and nab the 5 seed in the AFC. And with that loss, the Raiders go ahead and get the 6th overall pick in the draft. So, good job to both teams. They got what they needed. Moving on, because I don't know what happened. 49ers, Cardinals. The Cardinals kind of went crazy in this game. They won 47-24. 49ers had a really, really disappointing season. No one really saw this coming at all. Christian McCaffrey was not expected to be hurt as much as he was, but he missed pretty much the entire year with injuries. The Cardinals were a surprise team. I mean, Caden and I were relatively high on them heading into the season. And we didn't think they'd finish as well as they did. We didn't think they'd really have that much of a shot at making the playoffs, but they had their moments there. So good work for the Cardinals. They overperformed. They exceeded the expectations that everyone had for them. And sometimes that's all you need. Then Chiefs Broncos. We saw the clip earlier.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Like, as we're setting up, because we take, a long time and we really make sure we had all of our details right. And we plan hours in advance for these podcasts because we have so much of a big budget and this just generates so much generational wealth for us. But basically, I was inputting all these scores in to the ticker, and I did a massive double take when I saw the Chiefs 0, Broncos 38.
What else is massive? And just look deeper, faith.
Buddy, that's tough. That's a joke I would make. That's how low. That's what this podcast has become at this point. Just no. Anyways, as I was saying, I did a massive. It was a crazy. I couldn't even imagine it. Imagining at the beginning of this year. Okay, for real though. Imagine at the beginning of the season, or no, when the Chiefs were dominating at what, game whatever, and they were 10 and they're not undefeated. Before they lost the first game, even they're undefeated for most of the season, and you're telling me they lose to the Broncos by 38 straight points is crazy. Even in the play, even though I'm sure they probably sat most of their star players. But that's crazy to not even make a field goal.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy. I also did a massive double take.
Yep.
So it was wild, but the Broncos ended up getting the win, and they really needed that. They for like 4 weeks now, they've been at the point where they could, if they won or tied, they got a playoff spot. And it took them this long to do it. It took them until the 9th hour before they finally got it done. So we'll see how they play in the playoffs. Obviously, Bo Nix, first year in the league. So we'll see how he fares in the playoffs. We'll see how Sean Payton is able to coach them through that. All right. The next game that we have here, almost done, is the Seahawks and Rams. The Seahawks ended up winning this one 30-25. And that was, in fact, not good enough to get them a playoff spot. I don't know at what point they were eliminated, but the Rams seem to have that on locks. So they got that. I don't know anything else to say about that. Dolphins and Jets. Dolphins lost 20-32 to the Jets. The Jets actually played well despite that one play that we saw there. And like I said, Aaron Rodgers had his 500th career touchdown. He had 4 touchdowns this week. There's some speculation that this may have been Aaron Rodgers' last professional football game. He may retire after this season. Who knows? I don't know if that's like no one's going to offer him a spot to play sort of situation. And so he's just going to retire and be like, oh, I wanted to do that. Or if it's going to be like, he's like, okay, maybe I'm not the same player I was. Maybe the surgery didn't help me all that much. I'm going to go ahead and retire. And then the big question too is, where does Devontae Adams go? Because Devontae Adams is too young to retire. He's getting up there in age, but he still has a couple good years left in him. And so the question is, without Aaron Rodgers, like if Aaron Rodgers goes and plays somewhere, does he go there despite this poor season that they had together? Does he try to go ring chase somewhere? Does he go try to get his bag somewhere? Lots of questions. He's probably not staying with the Jets. Garrett Wilson, that's another big question for the Jets too. If Rodgers stays, Wilson wants out. He might want out regardless just because of how poor the franchise has been performing. So a lot of questions for the Jets moving forward. They need to do a lot over this offseason.
Real talk. What do you actually think is going to happen? Like, if you would just guess, where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to go? Is he going to go somewhere? Is he going to quit? Hang up the cleats?
If I had to guess, I would say Aaron Rodgers plays one more season somewhere. I'd say he doesn't retire quite yet.
Who's open to taking?
That's a good question, because
he's not going to go as a backup. Everyone knows that. Like, he's going to be your guy.
No. Yeah, and the other thing is, I don't think Rodgers is going to go anywhere where he can't compete,
or where he knows exactly where he knows he's going to lose.
If he knows that he's just going to go get his money and then get out of there, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he wants one more chance for a Super Bowl. Maybe something happens to Sam Darnold and he winds up following the Brett Favre arc, and he goes and plays in Minnesota for a year, and then he's done. I don't really know. He definitely wants to compete somewhere. So maybe it's one of those situations where Rodgers is like, oh, I'm just going to kind of like let happen what happened. And then the Jets release him, and then he sits somewhere, and then the quarterback goes down, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's Aaron Rodgers playing for you now. So I don't know. I don't think he's done yet. I don't think he wants to be.
Yeah.
But I think he's forced out.
Yeah. For as much of Rodgers haters as we kind of are, like, we're not super supportive, I guess I'd say. We're not like the biggest haters either. But I think all of us want to see him end on a good season. Like,
yeah, other than maybe Caden. Caden is an avid hater of Aaron Rodgers. You and I don't mind the guy.
Right. He has a great career. He just came back after, being injured and out for an entire season. Came back, played most of this year. Like, you want to see him finish off well.
You want to see him end on a high note, end where he is top 5 in passing yards, top 5 in touchdowns, maybe in the MVP conversation, and then he rides his horse off into the sunset
Right.
into the Hall of Fame, and that's what you remember him by, not this last bad couple years on the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it could be like I said, maybe it could be one of the situations where he just kind of like hits free agency, kind of simmers off. Like, is Aaron Rodgers retired yet? No, I guess he is. Or maybe it's like one of those things where like he's like, okay, I'm kind of done with football. And then, like I said, like a quarterback goes down somewhere and he's like, maybe I could go play over there. And then he does. So we'll see. A lot of questions for both him, the Jets, and everyone that I mentioned involved there. All right, then the last game here, the fight for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Will it be the Vikings? Will it be the Lions? This is going to be the clash. What's going to happen? It wasn't actually that entertaining. The Lions went ahead and walloped the Vikings 31-9. Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy. Okay, like I know it's way too early. It's way too early. It's always too early. But the conversations always happen at this point where it's like, who should be the 1-1 in fantasy next year? And the two names that keep popping up are Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley for the 1-1 for fantasy next year. Obviously, whoever is the Madden cover athlete, stay away from them. Don't touch them. They're not the 1-1. They're going to be like the 32-32. But Jahmyr Gibbs has had a phenomenal year. He carried my dynasty team to a championship against Caden. So I will forever be a Jahmyr Gibbs glazer. But he went crazy in this game. The Lions themselves just went crazy in this game. I'm excited to watch them in the playoffs. And with this win, they get the number 1 seed in the NFC, which means every game that they play and then every game that they win from there on out will go through Ford Field in Detroit, which will be electric. I'm excited to see what the Lions can do in the playoffs this year.
There's a cool clip that I found here of Jahmyr. This was this game. Just literally unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, just pulling through everyone. Fantastic. For those of you who are listening only on audio, I'm sure that was really riveting. It's probably just as riveting as everyone who's watching, who got to watch that at about, I don't know, half a frame per second.
Oh, shoot. I wasn't even looking at it.
It was rough.
Shit. That's
all right.
Internet.
Yeah, it's okay. You're streaming an entire podcast out there.
Yeah.
So that does it for the games themselves.
Yes.
So I want to really quick run you guys through the pictures moving forward here. So we'll start with the worst of the two. I kind of touched on them as I was going, but the draft order is solidified. And at the number 1 pick, we have the Tennessee Titans, the 2, the Browns, 3 Giants, 4 Patriots, 5 Jaguars, 6 Raiders, 7 is the Jets, 8 is the Panthers, 9 is the Saints, and 10 is the Chicago Bears. Only go through the top 10. You guys don't need to know all of them. Then the playoff picture in the AFC, our number 1 seed, as everyone knows, is the Chiefs. They will get a bye week, and then everything will go through Arrowhead as they play and win. The 2 seed is the Bills. They will play the 7 seed Broncos at Bills Stadium. Then we have the number 3 Ravens, winner of the AFC North. They will play the number 6 Steelers. They will play in Baltimore. That should be a very fun AFC North matchup. Then at the 4 seed, the AFC South winners is the Texans. They will be playing the Chargers in Houston, I believe. That would make sense. Yep, they're playing in Houston. All right, then over to the NFC side, our number 1 seed is the Lions, as I mentioned earlier. So everything will go through Ford Field as they play and win. The number 2 seed and winner of the NFC East is the Eagles. They will be playing the Packers in Philadelphia. Then the number 3 seed winner of the NFC South is the Buccaneers. They will be playing the Commanders. That will be a really, really fun game. That's going to be a firefight. There's going to be a lot of scoring. I'm really excited for that game. Then we have the Rams and Vikings. The Rams went ahead and win the NFC West, so they will take on the Vikings at home. There is a lot of question with that game because of the fires that are currently going on in California. So they're not entirely sure where that game will be held. At the moment, it's still planned to be played in LA. But obviously that's up in the air. If the fires move closer to the city and the stadium, they'll have to move. I don't remember where their backup place was. I want to say it was Arizona was their backup place in case that falls through. Debbie, fact check me on that. Debbie's working very diligently to fact check me on that. He's
State Farm Stadium.
I feel like that's in Arizona.
It is.
Okay, yes.
Which is the backup venue for Monday night's matchup. Everyone's hoping that the LA situation improves, but the league is staying prepared.
Yeah. So obviously that wouldn't be that big of a blow for the Rams. Actually, you always want home field advantage, but there are no Rams fans, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Tough.
Okay, so that does it for the games and then the preview. Debbie, do we want to do a
Pick'ems?
A pick'ems for the playoffs?
For sure. But before we do that, I'd like to remind you guys of our sponsor, which is K&F Construction. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for 20 years, specializing in composite decks. K&F Construction takes the time and effort to provide the service and product you deserve for your home. You can call K&F Construction today at 330-575-2465 for a free estimate. Again, that's 330-575-2465. You can also visit knfdecks.com, which is linked in the description. K&F Construction, let us build your dream backyard. So now we're going to transition over to the pick'ems, which are we counting this as far as is Caden still keeping track?
I don't think this counts because the sleeper.
I think he's watching.
Caden,
comment if this is. I don't think actually he was watching Instagram. Maybe he's not anymore. But let's pretend that it is, just in case it is, because actually, does it even matter for you because you're so far behind?
Yeah, I don't know if it would even matter.
For all the listeners out there, let's give them a little update where we're at as far as the standings.
Yeah. So as far as the standings go, season end, Debbie finished with 64 picks correct.
Okay, I did not pick at all.
Debbie finished with 60.
Week 4, I stopped. Okay, oh my goodness.
64. Hey, Debbie, how many games are there in an NFL season? Hold on, let me look that up real quick. How many games in NFL?
I missed 1 week. And then I was like, what's the point anymore? Because, you missed all those games, which is like 11, 12, whatever it was that week. And,
there are 272 matchups, and Debbie got 64.
Also, this is not making your case for losing any more palatable.
Anyway, so then I went ahead and got 181 games right. So I finished just over 500. And then Caden got 193 right. So he also just above 500, which is really lame.
Wait, so how many total games are there in the NFL? 200 what?
272, I think I said.
Okay.
Yeah, 272.
That's like close to 2/3. It's over 2/3 of every week he was picking correct on average.
Yeah. So Caden wins. Round of applause for Caden. Yay, Caden. Yay. So keep your eyes out for me going on a date with a stuffed bear. I'm not quite sure what size bear we're going to use yet. I hope small. I hope a really small bear is the answer because they get some pretty big bears, but I don't know if we have the budget for that. So that might bail me out. So I'm afraid that Debbie moved me to the full screen, and I hear a lot of, okay. All right. It could be worse.
We might even use another bear that might be bigger than this. So, yeah.
Well,
you're going to have to carry this thing in. Right now, I think you're both going to be mic'd up.
Oh, both the
And
bear and I.
yeah. Well, obviously, it's your date. You
Yeah,
don't want to not mic the bear. Of
right.
course. I know what. Yeah.
The bear gets camera shy, so I think we should be worried
Oh,
about that. Like,
well, so
we
do
should
you.
be sensitive of the bear's needs and what it likes as well. So we should take that into consideration as we move forward.
Okay. And then, yeah, we're going to be comfortably sitting a nice, comfortable distance away, watching and recording. And this will go out. It will go out. You know, the Waffle House video was posted. It was just an hours long Instagram live posts that got posted to the
Notably,
page.
when he says
So
an
if you
hours
do want
long,
to
he
watch
doesn't
it,
mean 1 hour long. He means like 12 hours of raw
I
footage
did say
posted to
it was
Instagram.
plural. It was plural. So you can see some of it. You know, the full video did not get out, but this year I'm confident we can put the video together. We must put the video together because it's going to be absolutely awesome. All right, let's move on. We are only at 47 minutes, so we're already like way under time, but we're going to kick this off with the Chargers at the Texans and Austin. We'll just go back and forth. So you
Sounds
start
good.
this one. Who's
I'm
winning
gonna
this?
take the Chargers in this one. They've been playing well all year. Jim Harbaugh, I think he's gonna get it done. Justin Herbert has been playing well. The only thing that worries me is the Chargers' run game has been struggling with injuries, but their defense has been playing really, really well. At one point, they had the number 1 defense in the NFL. So I'm taking the Chargers here. The Texans have been struggling.
Nice. Honestly, I don't really have a super strong opinion about this game. You know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna say Texans. Why not?
Write that down.
I'll do Texans.
We can add that be 62 win total.
Yeah, it counts for like 10, right? Trust.
Oh, these count for 10. All right. No.
We're not gonna let you get out of that one.
Hayden also picks the Texans.
All right, moving on. Steelers and Ravens. I was thinking about this one a little bit, and it's hard to choose. Honestly, I think it's going to be a really good game to watch. At this point in the season, these are all the top teams of the entire league. And so while record does matter, I'm sure, I think you also got to just be thinking all of these teams are going to be playing their A game for all these games. And this will be a really good one to watch. I'm going to say I'm going to pick the Steelers on this one. It's a little bit controversial. Ravens have been playing really, really good. Yes, I do think the Ravens should win this game. But it is impressive how the Steelers have been quietly winning a lot of games throughout the season.
It's true.
After I just got done saying that record doesn't matter. But I think Russ somehow will cook.
Oh, I forgot you were secretly a Russell Wilson Glazer from your time.
I am not a Russell Wilson Glazer.
No, he's a Mr. Unlimited fan.
That's crazy.
Mr. Unlimited.
That's crazy. No, Hurts is my guy.
You got to stay unlimited.
All right, Austin, let's hear it.
I'm going Ravens. The Ravens have been my Super Bowl pick since before the season started, if you guys remember. So I'm going Ravens here. I will be pulling for them to win the whole way, just so that way I can say that I got that right.
That makes sense. All right. Next one we got Broncos and Bills. How are the Broncos in the playoffs or in the wild card round? Nobody really knows. I guess you're going first for this one, but I already know.
I know. The Bills win. The Bills have been playing fantastic all year. Josh Allen has been not like people say MVP level. He has not been. There are quarterbacks that have been playing way better than he has, which is crazy to say because Josh Allen has had one of the best years out of a quarterback we have seen in a long time. There's been guys that have had better. But I say the Bills get it done. They're hungry. They know that they are the little brother to the Chiefs in this playoff season. And without the Bengals making it in, they know that this could be their best chance to get it done. So I think the Bills figure it out.
I totally agree. I don't understand how the Broncos even managed to get in here in the first place. But I would be very impressed. I'd be super impressed if the Broncos beat the Bills. I honestly think and this is not a hot take, but I think the Bills, we could see them in the Super Bowl very possibly, just with like you said, how they've been playing this year. But all right, moving on. My Eagles playing against the Packers. This one is pretty easy for me to take. I'm just going to take the Eagles. The Packers have been playing good this season. I don't think they've been talked about near as much as many of the other teams. But I mean, it is impressive what they've been able to pull off throughout the season. But I think the Eagles are just, I mean, they're a top 5 team in my opinion in the whole NFL ranking. So I'm taking Eagles. Easy one.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree that the Eagles probably are the better team in this matchup. I think Kane and I said at one point that they are one of the most complete teams in football. Sure. We'd said that like their biggest weakness was their kicker, which like if that's your biggest weakness, like you got it figured out. I'm not too worried about the Jalen Hurts injury, his concussion. I think that people recover from that. He'll be okay. Might affect him in the long term, but for the short term, he should be fine. That being said, though, I gotta take a fun pick. I'm gonna go with the Packers here. I think this will be a really, really good game, a really offense-heavy game. And Jordan Love has been slinging the rock all year long. I mean, there are games where he gets it to like 8, 9 different receivers in a game, which is crazy. Yeah. So I look for more of the same. I'm excited for this game, but I'm going to take the Packers here.
Fair enough. All right, second to last one here. We got the Commanders at the Buccaneers. Well, it's not at, but playing against the Buccaneers.
I think it is at Buccaneers.
It is? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was held at a different stadium. What do you got?
Like I said before, this one is going to be a firefight. Jaden Daniels has been playing out of his mind all year. I mean, rookie of the year for sure. He's a shoo-in. Their offense has been clicking, but so has the Buccaneers. I mean, with Mike Evans coming back, it's just almost unfair to have Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans on the same team. They are just on the same page. I'm going to take the Buccaneers here. I mean, for no other reason than I think I kind of want them to win more. I obviously, being a Browns fan, I am a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I am excited when he does well. So I think I want him to win, but I'm hoping for like an overtime thriller in this one. Like it should be fantastic.
Totally. That is not outside the realm of possibility. You picked the Bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was my pick as well. I just don't see the Commanders making a very deep playoff run, even if they do win this game. But yeah, I got the Bucks. Last game, Vikings and Rams, to be determined where this is actually played at, but hopefully it'll be a good game. I think both of these teams have been playing pretty well this year. I honestly haven't watched much of these teams play, but I think it should be a very equal matchup. Another good game to watch. Man. Why don't you talk about this game first and then I'll decide. I'm not 100% on my decision here. Not going to lie.
This is really tough because the Vikings have been playing well all year and I want them to win. I want them to win so bad. But in my heart, I think the Rams win this one. They have turned it on in the last bit of the season here. They've figured out what works. I mean, Cooper Kupp's been struggling, but that's whatever. The rest of the team has been firing on all cylinders. No one wants to play the Rams in the playoffs. And so I'm going to take the Rams. I'm pulling for the Vikings. I don't really like the Rams that much. No one does. They have no fans. I'm looking at you, Preston. They have no fans. But I'm going to take the Vikings. I lied. I don't know why I said that. I want the Vikings to win. I'm going to take the Rams is what I meant to say.
Okay, I was like, hold up. I'm going to take the Vikings. I've decided. I don't know. I think it'll be a great game. I think the Vikings is just both teams have been playing really well. I think the Vikings they have a better record. And I think they'll just hopefully outscore the Rams. I don't know if it'd be more defensive game or more offensive, but I'm going to take the Vikings. All right. We don't have any segments or anything this week, I don't think.
I don't think so, no.
So that was our week 18 recap. Comment, let us know what you guys think. If our takes were absolutely trash, if my takes were absolutely trash, which I'm sure they were. And we will record next week. Trust, we will not skip another week like we did last week. You better trust. Yeah, and we're gonna try to get some guests on if we can. We're gonna try to make something happen while we're in this playoff period here. Yeah, I don't know if you have any final thoughts, Austin.
Not too many. Thank all of you for watching. Debbie, thank you for filling in for Caden for the time being. I'm sure that we'll be seeing more of you, and make sure that you keep Caden in your prayers as he learns about discipleship and evangelism, and spends his next couple months in Louisville. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.